Hi everyone, I hope you're doing okay. I really miss coming in to share assembly with you, so I thought I'd make some assemblies on a video, and then if you want to have a look at them and we can do some stories together and just see what we can learn from these stories. So we're going to have a look at some of the stories that Jesus told that you can read in the New Testament, the second part of the Bible. The first story is about how we should care for each other. It's called the parable of the Good Samaritan. It's probably one you know, but let's have a read through it together, shall we? I'm going to start with a game. It's a game I've done in assembly before, where I show you some objects and you've got to try and remember what they are. So these are all objects that you might take on a journey. So here I've got my backpack, and I've got a water bottle. So put that out of screen, and then I've got my sun hat, just for a bit of protection there. I've got a map so I can make sure I know exactly where I'm going. A raincoat, always useful. A snack, my favourite snack is the chocolate orange. So that's my snack for this journey. And then I've got a compass, just to make sure I'm going in the right direction. So there's a few items to try and remember. A compass, let's put them back in the bag. A snack, water bottle, a map, my hat, and a raincoat. There we go. So after I've told the story, I'm going to see if you can remember what's in my bag. So this is the parable of the Good Samaritan. I'm going to read this story to you now. Of course, if I was doing this story in assembly, actually in school, I'd be asking for volunteers to come and be the robbers and the traveller and the various characters, and I'd probably bring a few props to so they could dress up. So you've got to use your imagination a little bit. Jesus was teaching one day when a man in the crowd asked him a question. "Can you tell me, Jesus, what do I do to live forever?" Jesus said, "Love God and love your neighbour as much as yourself." "But who is the neighbour?" asked the man, helping to trick Jesus. "Is he just the fellow who lives next door?" "Let me tell you a story," said Jesus, "to help you understand. Once upon a time there was a man like any one of us, who was travelling from Jerusalem to Jericho. Now, as you all know, this is a dangerous road with lots of twists and turns, and it's very, very steep, and there's no end of places for robbers and thieves to hide. Well, the robbers were waiting on that day, and they grabbed the man, and they beat him, and they took his money and his clothes and left him there to die." "Oh dear," said the crowd. They felt sorry for the man. Jesus went on with the story. In a little while another man came walking down the road, a priest, on his way home from the temple. He saw the dying man, and what do you think he did? "He helped him," shouted someone in the crowd. "He saved him," shouted another. "No," said Jesus, "he did not. He took one look at that poor man and then crossed to the other side and walked away." "Oh dear," said the crowd. "Wait," said Jesus, "because soon another man passed by. He served God in the temple. So what do you think this man did?" "He ran to get help," said someone. "He raised the alarm," said another. "No," said Jesus, "he didn't. Just like the priest, he crossed to the other side and left the poor man by himself." "Oh no," said the crowd. "Don't worry," said Jesus, "for there was another man on that day, and he was a Samaritan." "A Samaritan," shouted someone. "They're different from us." "We hate Samaritans," shouted another, "and they hate us." "So I've heard," said Jesus, "but when the Samaritan saw that man, he didn't walk away. He bandaged the wounds, he loaded him on his donkey, he took him to a nearby inn and paid for that man to stay there. He even paid for some medicine to help the man get better." Jesus looked at the person who asked the questions. "Tell me, who was a neighbour to the man who'd been robbed?" "The third one, the Samaritan," he answered. "That's right," said Jesus, "because your neighbour is anyone who needs your help. Now you go and help your neighbour too." good way to live is to love our neighbours as ourselves, to care for people, and especially at this time, it's really important, isn't it, to try and care for each other and look after each other. Now, we had that game at the start, didn't we? Kim's game, remember, with those objects that I bought to do with going on a journey. Just going to give you a few moments to see if you can remember any of those. So, hopefully some of you have remembered that you can score yourself as we do this, can't you? So a point if you got the raincoat. A point if you got the sun hat. You can give yourselves a point if you got the map. Another point for the water bottle. A point if you got the compass. And a point if you got the most important object. And if you remember what the last one was, my favourite, the food, the chocolate orange. Well done if you remembered all of those. They just remind us of this story, of that traveller on a journey, of the person who helped him, and of the call to care for each other as much as we care for ourselves. I'd just like to say a little prayer. Remember, you can join in by saying Amen. That just means I agree at the end if you would like to. Dear God, thank you for the stories that Jesus told that teach us really important things. Help us to take the message of the parable of the Good Samaritan and to love our neighbour as we love ourselves. Amen. Well, hopefully I'll see you again in another virtual assembly, and look after yourselves.